back to Josh Trade Wars, and today we're gonna show you another episode, but instead it's gonna be not the exact same episode, but a more clear and deeper analysis on my trading strategy. And so this is gonna be part 1.5. It's the same thing as part 1, but more better to understand and more helpful, because I think I didn't do as much good as an explanation as showing you how to find stocks, the criteria to find stocks. So I'm gonna show you right now. I'm gonna show you right now and how to find them way better. So what stocks to trade and how to find them. So first we're gonna look over the criterias. So you have 5 criterias into finding a stock. These criteria create an imbalanced demand. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 demands and 1 supply. So this is the demand of the stock, and the stock can only demand this. Can only supply this much, making an imbalance and causing that stock to go up. And that's where I can ride the momentum. That is why I call it the momentum strategy. First demand, I want that stock to have a 5 to 20 million volume. This creates demand so that a lot of people want to trade the stock and they can. It is okay if it's a bit higher. So if they have like a 25 million volume, that's okay. Too much volume, like 50, 60 million. I think you would have to be very wary. But I find that the golden zone is 5 to 20 million or 1 to 20 million. 1 to 20 million. So check right there. After all this, I'm gonna show you how to find the volume. Actually, yeah, I'm gonna show you how to find it like I did last time. Criteria number 2 is it has to have a 30% or more than a 30% on the day. So if the stock is growing 30%, I'll trade that stock. But if it's 20%, you can still trade it. Mine's is 20%, but since you're starting, and if you want to use a strategy, I recommend 30%. So if a stock is at 45%, I'll trade it. You should trade it. But if it's at 25%, I would look for something else. But yeah, this shows that the stock is already up and has a lot of momentum. So now you can ride on that momentum. Second demand, and this demand is the most important demand. If this stock doesn't have this demand, I wouldn't recommend trading that stock. It has to have a news event. This brings the people to that stock, and that's how and why that stock is going up. So if there isn't any news, there's no one coming to that stock because no one's shouting from the rooftop from that stock. Hey, look at us! But when there is news, there's a person. It's like a person shouting from the rooftop, and it's gonna catch people's attention, and people are gonna go to that stock. So there has to be news. News is very important. It's what brings the people to the stock. Whenever you hear bad or good news, you see a market crash or a market go up because there was news. That's how you heard about it. News. So the stock has to have a news event. If it doesn't have a news event, I really don't recommend trading it because it's probably not even gonna move. Even if it has like a 30% on the day, I recommend you find any type of news. Criteria number 4 is it has to have the price has to be a 2 to 20 price range. This means more shares to buy and more money you'll be able to win. The price also is why there's not a big flow. So I'm gonna go into the flow real quick. But this keeps it so you can actually buy more shares. Now, all of this, 1, 2, 3 criteria can fit into a stock that has like a 50% a $50 price range, but you're not gonna be able to buy more more shares. And the lower the price, the more I see that the lower the price, the more that stock moves. So if you take stocks like Apple or Google, since their high price range are like 500 or 300 or whatever, they move, yes, but not as much. They only move 2%, 3%, 1%, go down 1%, go down 2%. But stocks within the 2 to 20 that have these like 3 criterias, they tend to move a lot more, like 30%, like I said right here, 50%, sometimes even 500%. I one time saw a stock go to 6 or 700%, which is insane. Or I even saw a stock go up to 1,000%, which is incredible. And finally, we have the supply. The supply, you have to check on the flow. I want the stock to have a less than a 20 million flow. If this means a flow is the amount of shares that can go out. Now, if there's a lot of shares that can go out, like 200 million of a flow, then it's not creating much of a low supply. It's not like there's a lot of supply, but we want a stock that doesn't have that much supply, so it can create an imbalance of creating a lot of demand. So that's why I wanted to have a low float of 20, below 20 million. This makes the share limited, so people are gonna want it. So that makes it quicker to move and whatnot. And you want a stock that moves. So yeah, I tend to look for these criterias in a stock. These are very important. These 5 criteria is important to look at. Now, to select these in categories, I would do this. If a stock fits all 5 of the criteria, that is the best setup for that stock, and I recommend trading hard on that stock. You don't have to trade. If you don't see your strategy, you don't see it, and you don't have to trade. But this is a good stock to look at. If it only hits 4 criterias, um, it's still okay. It's still an okay stock, but I recommend being a bit more careful. If there's only 3 or 2, you can keep your eye on that stock in case any big moves, or if your strategy is being formed. But I recommend you to be very, very wary and keep your shares and buying power limited. So say if I bought 1,000 shares of a company all the time, this time if it only hits 3, I would only buy maybe 300, 200 shares instead of 1,000, or even half. And if it only hits 2 or 1, then I really wouldn't recommend trading it at all. Yeah. So, but for me, the most important are the news and the flow. But if it hits all of these, but I look for stock that hits all of these. So I really prefer to trade a stock that hits all of these. So, and that's, I think you should keep. I think you should be strict about the stocks you trade. So if you see a stock with only 4 criteria being hit, don't trade it. But if you see a stock with 5 criteria, sorry, obviously hit it. Now, what to do with all this information? This then now allows me to begin performing a combination of fundamental and technical analysis, aka reading the chart and looking out for my pattern. So say this stock right here is hitting all of my criteria. Now I just wait for it to form my strategy. I go up, that is the momentum, and I wait for a pullback. My strategy consists of the stock performing a pullback. So you can see right here, it formed a pullback. It broke right here. That's why I say buy. It broke right here because that was the high. This is the high, and it broke that high. So it broke, and now I set my stop loss, the money I'm willing to risk, the money I'm willing to risk at the low. And now I just do a 2-to-1 ratio, so 2 times the amount I'm willing to risk. So if I'm willing to risk $200, then I'm willing to risk winning $400. That is a 2-to-1 ratio. If it's a 3-to-1, I will just times it by 3. So, but yeah, I'm using a 2-to-1. I mostly use a 2-to-1, but since I'm using a 2-to-1, that is double the stop loss. So my TP would be right here, and you can see it hit. And yeah, that will be my strategy. And remember, my entry is as the candle breaks the high of the previous candle. So you can see that is the high. I buy right here, stop loss right here, take profit right here. So once it goes above the take profit, I'm out. Yes, I could be winning more trades, but I'm also risking the amount of money I'm winning. So while you're in the trade, you don't automatically win all the trades you have. But right now, you don't automatically win all the trades you have. So that's why you have to have a take profit where you take your money and go. And I'm gonna show you in the next video what I mean in a better understanding. But now I'm gonna show you how to find these stocks. I'm gonna get into it right now. So for me, since I use Webull, I go into markets right here, and I go into top gainers. You can see right here. Now this allows me to see, as you can see, this is the previous trade. So you can see I categorize them. So green meaning it only hits 4 criterias. Purple meaning it only hits 3 criterias, and orange, as you can see right here, only meaning it hits 1 criteria. But if it hits all criteria, I will put it as blue. And it's very easy to understand. Blue, green, purple, orange. Yeah, like that. These 4 right there. So this helps me remind me, hey, this stock right here is the best to trade. But like I was saying, so let's say BZAI. I see that this stock is at the price range 2 to 20, so at $5. It's more than a 30% gain. Oh, sorry, if I can just move this, click it right here. If it's a more than 30% gain, so that's 75%. So once I click it, it's right here. I go to stocks, click it, and I just make an analysis on how the stock is. So this will be, since it's Saturday, this blew it up on Friday. So this will be right here. Yeah, it will be right here. So then, if I want to look at the volume, I will go right here into watch list where I see recently viewed BZAI. I will scroll. You can see the volume is at 73. Now, the volume wasn't like this. I look at this at, my strategy consists of trading at 9:30 and to 10. I stop at 10, and I start trading at 9:30, and I stop trading at 10. So only a 30-minute range. But I look at pre-market, see how the chart is looking, making a fundamental analysis. And I'm going to show you that in a video in part 2. I'm going to show you how I do fundamental analysis, so you can better understand and try to do what I do. But let's say the volume was at 20 million, 23 million. Since it's close to 20 million, I will put it as green, so it checks off 1 criteria. Already 3 criteria checked off. And now we're gonna have to look at the float. Well, the float is, wow, that is a lot. That's a big float. So it doesn't hit my float, and it doesn't seem. And right here, if you see this yellow paper, if you click it, this shows you the news. So this stock unfortunately only hits 3 of my criteria. So since I only hit 3, I would put it in a purple and not really trade it. I could trade it if it formed my strategy. Let's see. So this is the pre-market, and it looks like it did not form my strategy. Since I put it in a purple, it was most likely not going to form my strategy, and it didn't. Like you can see that it went all the way down since the time it opened. And yeah, since it's not really good stock, I didn't trade it, and boom, yeah. But that is how I find my stocks, and that is how I check my checklist. 5 criterias, and it only hit 3, and so I put it in purple. If it hit 4, I would have put it in green. If it hit 5, I would have put it in blue, but it didn't. But yeah, that is how I do it, and that is all for today. If you wanna check out how I do fundamental analysis on my chart, make sure to stay tuned. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and subscribe. Hit the bell so you don't miss any videos in that video that I'm gonna do soon on fundamental analysis. But that is it for today. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. See you in the next video.